What's up, guys? This is Andrew Frezza and Melissa Dixon from Care Coach Lead, and today we're going to be talking about the only 3 things that you need to know to coach the Olympic lifts really, really well. So today we're going to be talking about how to coach the snatch and the clean and jerk a little bit better, but we're mainly going to be focusing on the power snatch just to keep our framework simple for today. And we're going to go over the 3 positions that we use to keep our coaches aligned and have everybody coaching the same thing, keep our athletes aligned. We're going to talk about what those positions look like, and then we're going to talk about the 3 things that you can look for and layer in your coaching as kind of a order of operations of what to fix first whenever you're working with your clients, okay? So this is a framework that I stole from Glenn Penley, the late great Glenn Penley. Did a seminar with him years ago, and it's a framework that just really has stuck with me over the years, okay? So I first want to cover what the framework is, which is 3 things: positions, tempo, and speed, okay? And we're gonna dive into each one. We're gonna show you guys what the positions look like. But basically what this means is that when we wanna fix our athletes and we're trying to figure out what to fix first, we always wanna make sure that our positions are dialed in first. If that looks good, then we can go to adjusting and improving tempo. And then if that looks good, we're gonna improve speed. And that could also be interchange with load or intensity as well, and we'll talk about what that means. Okay, so let's first just quickly go through the 3 positions of the Olympic lifts of the snatch, so that way we're on the same page and we know what we're looking for. All right, so for Melissa, she's going to get her snatch grip. She's going to go into what we refer to as position 1. All right, so in this position, her shoulders and hips and heels are all stacked in line. Her shoulders are behind the barbell. She's got a bend in the knees. Her weight is pretty equally distributed in her entire feet, and those shoulders are engaged and back. From here, she's gonna go to position 2. She's gonna hinge over the bar. So now her shoulders went from behind the bar to in front of the bar. Her butt is back, okay? And her shins are vertical. They're straight up and down there. Then she's gonna go down to position 3, which is the floor, since we have some plates on the bar. And in this position, her butt is just slightly above her knees. Her shoulders are either slightly in front of the bar or stacked on the bar. So go ahead and sit back just a little bit more. So it could kind of be either one of those positions. That's gonna differ athlete to athlete. And then go ahead and stand up without the bar. And then that bar is just right over her midfoot there, or maybe slightly closer to the forefoot, that first shoelace in her shoe. Okay, so that's positions 1, positions 2, and positions 3. These become our checkpoints in the lift. Okay, so if we were to watch Melissa lift in slow motion, if we were to freeze frame her at those given moments of the lift, we should see her pretty much nailing each of those points of performance. If she isn't, and she's missing those things, before we worry about her tempos or her speed and what those look like, we first have to get her nailing those positions. So we might have to take what feels like a small step backwards in order to get those positions dialed in. Otherwise, she's going to be hitting a dead end in her lifts as she starts to get up there in weight, okay? Now let's talk about tempos. What does tempos mean? Tempos means that there is a gradual acceleration from the ground all the way up to that overhead position. And if we have any changes in speed where we decelerate or we pause, we're violating that number 2, that tempo, okay? The third thing is speed or load or intensity. So once we have positions and tempos dialed in, then we can add speed or we can add load or we can add intensity to it. But only once we have positions and tempos dialed in should we worry about how fast our athletes are moving or how much load is on the bar, all right? So we want to talk about, we're going to show you guys what it looks like to have maybe one but not the others, okay? So a violation of positions where someone still has good tempos might be something like an early arm bend, okay? So Melissa's going to get set up at the floor and she's going to do a snatch with a little bit of an early arm bend and kind of missing position 1, all right? You do a little bit better than that. Miss that position 1. There you go. That looks really good. So notice she, like if I just take that lift in, she looks like an athlete. She looks smooth, like she's not going to get hurt doing that. And it's got a gradual acceleration through the movement. But if we were to freeze frame her, she's got a gap between that bar and the hips in that position 1, and she's clearly missing position 1. So with her, before we really worry about her lifting more weight or her trying to dial in her tempos anymore, we have to get her to hit position 1. We have to nail that first.
Story of my life.
So now let's talk about what it might look like to violate number 2, the tempos, okay? She's gonna do kind of a pause, even though it's not a pause, this is meant to be a regular lift, but she's gonna kind of pause to show you what that would look like and then try to restart her momentum, okay? So go a little faster to the position 2 and then kind of restart, all right? So you'll see this a lot where it's like almost like a hitch in the lift where an athlete's kind of pausing and then trying to restarting. And she's actually doing, if we were to stop her, you can go and rest for a second. If we were to do that same slow motion or freeze frame, she's actually doing a better job there of hitting positions than the last example we showed you, but her tempo is worse than the last example, okay? So you guys can see that difference of positions were pretty much there, but tempos were not, all right? Now we'll show you an example without speed, and this is just gonna look like a technically good lift. This might just be what you demo with a 35-pound bar. Maybe this is Melissa at 90% of her weight, and she's doing this technically good power snatch. But if we want to get her better, what we have to teach her is to eventually create speed, all right? That might be a little bit more speed off the ground, speed through the hips. It might just be all the above, right? And she's starting to move faster. You can see this. So she's moving closer to it, but that first rep especially was lacking that speed, okay? So I hope that gives you guys kind of a good, well-rounded view of a hierarchy that we can correct and look at the Olympic lifts and start to improve athletes and do it with a good order of operations. All right, so thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the next video.